I also caught up with Andor, and so far it has
Yeah.
been pretty good. Especially
Mhm.
because I don't know about you, but have you been watching weekly?
I have, yeah. After season
I have
after
not,
episode 4, yeah.
because
Mhm.
I watched 40 minutes of the first episode, so I got pretty much all the way to the end. And when I was watching it, I
Yeah.
was like, I am not ready to watch this right now because this is not like any other Star Wars ever.
Mhm.
It's a spy espionage set in the Star Wars universe, which is so different to every other series. And I was thinking, oh,
Yeah.
it's kind of like Rogue One. Rogue One's a very different Star Wars movie because there is no Jedi's, there are no lightsabers, except for that really fucking sick Darth Vader scene right at the end. Um,
Mhm.
that it's very different, but it's not a complete kind of like left field. Andor is very different. It's very
Yeah.
narrative driven. It's very character driven. It's very grounded in a type of reality. You don't really have any mystical forces at play. But in
Mhm.
saying that, it's still set in a Star Wars universe. There is still a lot of interesting aspects, but for Andor, you can't go watching Attack of the Clones and then go watch Andor because it's so
Yeah.
drastically different and it's refreshing.
Mhm.
It's very refreshing. I won't get too into it because obviously
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about it hopefully on a series review. Yes, Ewan
Yeah,
is
by
nodding
the
his
end of
head.
November.
Excellent,
Yeah, exactly. By the end of
excellent.
November, when it wraps, we'll have our
But
review for
like
the whole
so
series. Yeah.
far, I am enjoying it. Are you enjoying Andor? Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah. I think I've been enjoying it a bit more for the first part of what's
First half
out.
is definitely stronger than the
We've
latter.
watched the first 8 episodes. By the way, we are recording this on the day that there's a new episode out. And yeah, for the last 4, I guess we'll do a series review. But I think what has become apparent, it's really that it's 12 episodes for the whole season, and it's gonna be a 3 story arc, I think, for pretty much all of them. And I'm not entirely sure that at this latest destination that we've ended up with since episode 7, that is getting a wrap, hopefully in the episode that's out right now that we haven't seen yet. I feel like that was a bit of a drag, uh, where it is, I think, mainly on world building. Where we like the first few are really contained world building, and then we just slightly expand more and
I
more.
accidentally just launched the episode. Disney Plus. I tried clicking it to see the name of the episode so I could see what it's about, but I accidentally clicked on it and started playing it.
I don't know if the episode title is not on IMDb right now for the
It's
episode
called
that's out now for some
Nobody's
reason.
Listening with an exclamation point next to the list at the
Okay.
end of listening.
Well, that's just our podcast, isn't it? No.
Rip. Oh,
um,
Jesus. Under intense scrutiny whilst in prison, Cassian makes allies plan an impossible escape.
that's what I figured it will be, and I think the energy that it had in those first 3 episodes has not been matched yet.
Mm.
Although I did think that the heist bit was quite intriguing. But yeah, now it's losing kind of the focus. It's the middle of the season. It lost that a bit. Hopefully, it retakes the grip. I think the last episode was also like a lot of different characters that are not in the same place, doing very different things. So it felt a bit convoluted at times. Whereas like the first 3 are really just set on that one planet, in that one city as well.
It's obviously it's interesting to have the first 3 episodes kind of this little arc because it really introduces you to what this story could be, and I guess that's probably how they pitched it to Disney. It's like, hey, look, this is what we can do.
Yeah.
Obviously, they need to start
Mhm.
building these other characters because just having it based around Andor is, it's not a movie, it's a TV show, so they have to build a lot of storylines. I think
Mhm.
currently the what's his name, Luthen storyline is interesting, but it really hasn't gone that far. He kind of was wicked in the first 2 to 3 episodes, and now it's
Mhm.
what is his point? He's kind of like a rebel in disguise, and he's just being in the same shop for the past like 3 episodes. And it's the same with
Yeah.
Mon Mothra. She's been in the same spot for the past 3 episodes. The only person who is progressing is Andor. He's the only one who is literally moving from point A to point B. No
Yeah.
one else is doing any kind of movement, and that is why it can feel so stale because Andor is the only part that's interesting so far. He's the only one that's
Yeah.
doing actually interesting things, because the other
Mm.
couple characters are all at a standpoint. None of them are moving forward. It's kind of like just moving one chess piece, and the other, all of them are just standing there. It's like, yes, you are doing stuff, but there is a whole board at play here. Luthen's not
Yeah.
doing anything. Mothma's not doing anything. Cyril, I mean, he's fired, but he's been moaning about his uncle and his mum for the past 2 episodes. It's all
Yeah.
at a standpoint, and the only person that's actually making any progress is the titular character. Which, yes, but there are other characters you've introduced.
Yeah, I think even him being in the Andy Circus prison right now is a bit of a standstill for his characters, just because he is literally locked up. And I feel like it's like him being captured is just kind of, the thing of showing that the Empire is just, I guess, capturing people for no good reason, not even for the reasons that would justify him being captured. He's just captured for whatever and imprisoned. And I think it's trying to make that point.
See,
Um,
funny
but
thing is,
it's,
I
I don't know.
read
I
that.
don't need 3 episodes for that.
I read people obviously saying they didn't like the last episode because, it's pretty much just saying Empire bad. Which, by the
Mhm.
way, I really wish they spent more time on that fucking beach planet, because that looked like the chillest, like,
Yeah.
Miami Beach, uh,
Mhm.
like, what's the other place? Not San Francisco, the one with the pier. Yeah, San Francisco Pier. I think that's the one. The Santa Monica Pier. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, Santa Monica. Okay.
They're very like the whole planet just seemed like a very chill out, vibey place, and I wanted to be
Yeah.
there a bit more, but obviously they moved on because it was a kind of a unique Star Wars planet. You don't really see a lot of chilled out vacation planets.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of tourism in the Star Wars universe, and
Mhm.
this, I guess, is one.
Unless you're at
Because
Disney, you can pay for it for
obviously, interesting point
$12,000 for 3 nights.
in the Star Wars universe where there's not a conflict going on. There's no
Yeah.
rebels yet. There's no Jedi's fighting the Sith. It's all very the Empire is currently in power. There's no one opposing to them. This is the introduction of rebels essentially.
Mhm.
I guess the going back to the point of Empire bad. I do see that point. I don't think they need to ram it down our throats, because at this point, I think everyone knows there's a good and bad side in movies. There's not really any gray areas, but it would be nice to have some gray characters in this show, because it's the
Yeah.
perfect show to have that. I know in Star Wars lore there are like gray Jedis. I don't know if it's lore that's current because of all that when Disney was like, okay, here are all the comics of Star Wars. They're not canon. I don't know if
Mhm.
it's canon to have a gray Jedi that's seen both sides, because Yoda kind of has to accept both sides when he in Clone Wars. It's an excellent couple
Mhm.
episodes at the end of season 6. Man, I'm really nerding out on Star Wars, aren't I? I need to stop. I need to stop
Yeah,
watching
you
Star Wars for
are.
a little bit. But it'd be really interesting to have some gray based characters. As much
Mhm.
as the Last Jedi
Gandalf.
isn't the best, the gray isn't the best Star Wars movie. At least there's a character
Mhm.
in there. What's his name? Who's the actor who plays? Is it Benicio del Toro? I think it's Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
him,
his
isn't it?
name, but it's in there.
He plays a
Mhm.
character who's like, who cares who wins and who loses? I'm making money. That I don't
Yeah,
care
war
about the good. I don't care
profiteer.
about the bad. You're both buying like weapons from me. Like, that's an interesting
Mhm.
character, because he's not on one side or the other, which the Star Wars universe has always been one side or the other. There's never
Yeah.
been that person who's kind of in the middle. So that character is kind of interesting. It would be more interesting to have these morally grey characters in a very
I mean,
interesting
Andor
setting.
is that, right? Cassian is that, but I think the story is about him going from gray to white in a sense.
Well, I still don't think that, because he's still very anti-empire. He always has been. He's
Yeah.
always been, I guess, raised from that to fear the empire. He hasn't been,
Yeah.
that stormtrooper who has
Mhm.
defected, because that's one side to the other. Because there was that character where, when they're going into that heist, who, oh yeah, he used to be a stormtrooper. we've had that
Mhm.
before where we've had a stormtrooper go from the bad side to the good side. We've never had a stormtrooper who's stopped caring and just stopped being a stormtrooper and hasn't gone and fought. He's
Right.
just like, I don't think that these are the right way. I don't think you're the right way. I'm just stopping.
Mhm.
It'd be interesting to have a character who just doesn't want to be on either side in this show because it's the
Yeah.
perfect show to have it.
Yeah.
Like, have it be one of
It
the
is.
senators.
Agreed. Yeah.
Let the senator be the morally grey one who doesn't care if the Empire wins or if the rebels
Yeah.
win. So
I
yeah,
guess
look,
she does become like the greatest rebel leader. So I guess
yeah.
that's not her path.
But you know what? Look,
Yeah. It's
Andor, so far so good. I don't want to shit on it because it's the most unique Star Wars thing we've had in a long time, and I'd love Disney
Yeah.
to take a couple more risks with the universe because they've taken risks
Mhm.
with MCU. They kind of put the end of a Star Wars thing on a stick and they try to poke at it and go do something. It's unique. I like it. I'm enjoying it. Hopefully we can
Mhm.
get more good episodes out of Andor.